10K is that's crazy, man. All right, so welcome to something a little bit different. As most of you may or may not know by now, we have hit 10,000 subscribers. In fact, I think we're at like 10.2 now, and all I can say is thank you. By the way, I very much appreciate it. I can't describe how much I actually do appreciate that. Actually, you know what? I have no reason to even hide this. When it first happened, it didn't really like hit me at first, and I was walking around my room because I was kind of excited, obviously. And I remember I was making the Instagram post about it because I post on my story whenever I hit like bigger milestones on YouTube. I got teary-eyed. I didn't quite cry, but I got quite teary-eyed. So it was pretty close. I'm not even gonna lie to you because I was very happy. It was a very happy, tearful moment. I decided that we were gonna do a Q&A for 10K, or at least that was one of the things I wanted to do. The other thing is gonna get slightly delayed because, for the record, pretty much right after I'm recording this on Monday, I am moving, so I don't know how long that process is going to be. I don't when I'll have my setup set up, and I don't know when I'll get my internet set up. That shouldn't take too long because all we have to do is transfer it, so that shouldn't be a big deal. I just don't know how long it'll take, you know. Anyway, we have a Q&A. I made a community post 2 days ago, so we should have a fair amount of questions. In fact, how many comments? We have 51 comments. That's bare minimum 50 questions. Actually, this person put 3 questions, so they kind of pushed it a little bit, but we'll go for it. And I don't know how long this video is. However long this video is however long these comments are. So anyway, first question is 3 questions, which is crazy. They ask, what's your favorite thing about FNAF? The story, characters, gameplay, or fandom and community? That's a really broad question. You should have probably asked me my favorite thing about like an individual aspect of that. But for better or worse, sometimes I would probably say the community is my favorite part about FNAF for the most part, other than just the FNAF itself. And that's simply because it's a very unique community. Because not only is it like a super diverse community in terms of voices and people, but it is one of the most creative communities, I think, bar none, next to like COD Zombies. Because COD Zombies and FNAF share some common ground in the sense of how much custom content is made, and it's on another level than other fandoms. Like, there are fan games and other fandoms, but in comparison, I just feel like FNAF fans are just so goddamn creative. I don't know what it is. I mean, the series itself, I think, is what it is. It inspires people to be creative, I suppose. But yeah, to not give a long-winded answer, I'd probably say that. And then your second question is, what animatronic do you think you could beat and win a fight with? Probably a few of them, to be honest. I mean, I could definitely beat the Minoritas, the Bitty Babs. I could definitely beat BB, because there's no way BB is super articulate. Yeah, I feel like any of the smaller ones, except for maybe Plush Trap, because Plush Trap's like a little rascal. It's like scamping around. But I could probably beat like Minoritas, Bitty Babs, Plush Babies type shit, Bon Bon. I could probably beat Bon Bon. I don't know. There's probably a decent few of them I could. And can I do a backflip? Absolutely not. I would die. The next question is, when and why did you first get interested in FNAF? I remember when the first game came out, I was like in the 4th grade and was obsessed. I kind of stopped keeping track of it around sister location. That's a very common thing, but I've slowly gotten back into it, especially since finding your channel. Love your vids. Been binging them. Congrats on 10K. Thank you, and thank you. When did I first get into FNAF? FNAF 1. It was the hour after Markiplier had first posted that first video. It was 1 hour ago that video was posted, when me and my cousin actually found it, because I was at his house. I was staying at his house at the time. It was before I moved in with him, actually. I was just staying overnight, and we had just gotten done playing either Gmod or Minecraft on his computer, whichever one. And I remember, like, to the left of the computer, you could see out into the backyard, and his family was at the fire pit, but we got on YouTube afterwards. I think we were eating our dinner while on YouTube, and there you go, where we were scrolling on his page, Markiplier's warning, scariest game in years, that, like, Bonnie thumbnail. And I just remember, you know, we both took that, I guess, as a challenge, and I fell in love with it. It was immediate. From that one video alone, I fell in love with it. My cousin has always had, like, I think a very, very passive, step back kind of enjoyment of FNAF. You know, I think he likes it, but it's never been like the way that I do. Okay, I locked in. I got super into it. I learned everything that I could. I was on forums, because this was like, the community had not quite formed yet, so it was like all over the place. You had like different random places on Reddit that were talking about it. You had some YouTube channels that were talking about it, and then you had like forums. It wasn't until like FNAF 2 that like the YouTube FNAF space really like spawned in proper, at least. But yeah, I bought the game myself, or I should say I had my dad buy it. I was 11 and I was in the 6th grade, I believe. Crazy world we live in, because it's now been over 10 years. Been 11. But simply put, I watched that Markiplier video when it came out, and I was hooked. I don't know what it was about it, but I was full on hooked. Actually, the cousin I'm talking about too is Rex404, who's in pretty much all of the co-op videos I do on the channel. Like, he was in the Mimesis video, so there you go. W lore. What's your favorite food? I need dinner ideas. Well, I am very, very dogmatic. I think that might be the right word when it comes to that. I eat the same thing every day. I have like a schedule. I live in this schedule. I don't know what it is, but I'm on like a schedule. I eat the same things. I eat a lot of chicken patties. Or like chicken sandwiches, not even just chicken patties. I just eat a lot of chicken sandwiches. They're very good. That's probably my favorite food, to be honest with you, is like a chicken sandwich. Do I think ghosts are real? Absolutely not. In real life, no. That's, I think, why I find them so interesting, because they're not real. But they're fascinating, though. What's your least favorite song?
It's time. Your mom. I like your mom.
You quickly became one of my favorite YouTubers. It's pretty cool to see your channel grow so fast. Thank you. I don't know if that sounded insincere or not, but thank you. Probably know the answer already, but why did you choose the plush as your avatar? Is it just because you found it funny, or do you like the character? Kind of both. It originally, and I know some other people definitely probably asked about this, but here's some lore. It started as a simple bit. I remember when I hit a certain subscriber count, I can't remember what it was, I posted a off-brand Cassie plush that looked like really, really ugly. And then when we hit another milestone, I posted the current plush that's my profile as like a, because it looks slightly better than the previous, and it was supposed to be like Cassie's affording plastic surgery or something like that. Something along those lines, right? That was kind of the bit. You know, people were enjoying that bit who were around back then, and also they found the plushie funny, just like I did. And eventually I did a poll on the community tab of like, should I change my profile picture to this just for shits and giggles? And it was a pretty much resounding yes, and so it just kind of became the channel mascot, this off-brand Cassie plush. I do like Cassie a lot as a character, by the way. She doesn't have like a ton of like content yet. Obviously she's the main character of Ruin, and that's kind of it, but you know, she was a very, I think, realistic protagonist. I like her design, like the color scheme, stuff like that, and like the Roxy infused design into her. Just kind of funny. So there you go. Favorite FNAF YouTuber? That's difficult. That's real difficult, because here's the thing, just like I said earlier about like FNAF being an extremely diverse thing, so many FNAF content creators are doing different things. Like, you have people who are doing lore videos, you have people who are doing theory videos, which are very closely related, then you have people who just do let's plays, and then you have people who do like kind of like an Astral Spiff thing, where they do like a lot of challenge stuff and a lot of fun speedrun stuff, games and stuff like that. So that's difficult, but I mean, I guess I just gotta basic answer, the GOAT, Dawko, I guess. You know, I like his videos a lot. He does a variety of stuff, but you know, he's the GOAT. He's the classic GOAT. Astral Spiff is one of my favorite content creators. I remember finding when he posted that one of the first security breach videos he did way back when, and he very quickly became one of my favorite content creators. But there's so many. I mean, you got like Springs, Merch Review Springs. They do a very specific niche type of content. You know, they do a lot of the merch stuff, but they also make really cool and interesting videos. A lot of the topics that Springs does, I love. We love Springs, by the way, which is kind of ironic too, because when I found Springs a couple years ago, they were about my size now, and look at them. So good for them, by the way. But I even like Dag, so I wouldn't even necessarily consider FNAF YouTuber. And same thing with Astral Spiff, they're like adjacent, but those are like, you know, creators who have come up recently. Even like ID's Fantasy, Rytos, Plane Trace, I think is that channel's name. Yeah, Plane Trace, who does like a lot of FNAF fan game videos. Just so many. There's the Purple Dog. There's so many good content creators in FNAF. It's very hard to say like a definitive favorite. This community is filled with just really funny people and talented people, so that's a hard question to answer. Thoughts on Edwin being canon in the game's universe? Well, he is now, and I like what they did with it. I definitely don't think, I've said this before in my Let's Play for Secret of the Mimic, I don't think the book is in the same continuity as the games, but I like Edwin. I think the way they executed him in the game was very nice. It follows the same general story, but they added a lot to it. You have his relationship with Henry and William, which was not in the book. You have his relationship with his father, and like the factory being owned by him first. The house was not in the book. Fiona was definitely not in the book. The whole purpose of the Mimic being made, I think, is different than it was in the book. And it's very interesting. I'm really curious where we go from here, because we still have all the pieces in the modern day, right? The Mimic is still around in the modern day, and so is technically Fiona as Mexis. She's been repurposed and changed, but we'll see where that goes. That could potentially be interesting if Mexis is like restored, because we activate Mexis protocol in Secret of the Mimic in the ending, the proper ending. And so probably Mexis could be reverted to Fiona. Maybe she's still in there somewhere, you know? We'll see. We'll see. That's definitely very interesting. I feel like Edwin's role is just what we always thought Henry's role was. Edwin made the spring locks, sort of. It's not 100% clear whether he made these spring locks or he made updated spring locks. It's not clear, to be honest with you, because there is a message where he talks about designing better spring locks. I don't think it's clear whether Henry made the originals or less safe spring locks yet. Designed some of the animatronics, and made the Mimic/Mimic AI, etc. So now it's like, what did Henry even do? We thought William killed Charlie as a revenge because of Henry's creation killing the crying child, but now we know it's not even Henry who made the spring locks. We don't really know that for sure, though. We don't really know that for sure. And to be fair, to this point as well, this is the common consensus, but isn't necessarily confirmed. This is one of the things about the FNAF community that gets a lot of people into arguments is that a lot of the things that we agree on technically are not fact. We do not know why William killed Charlie. We don't. You can kind of look at the books, the Silver Eyes trilogy, if you really want to, and it's more of a jealousy thing than anything else. It's not an insane thing to say that this is why he did it, because Henry made Fredbear, and that's why he did it. I never saw it that way. I always leaned the direction of just simple jealousy. He sees Henry succeeding, and maybe he's happy with Charlie, and he's like, nope, don't like that. And most people also theorize that he was drunk, so potentially it wasn't even fully, like, I don't want to say not intentional, because you're still in control of yourself when you're drunk. You know, if you do something while drunk, you wanted to do it. You had a filter, right? But I think maybe that was what pushed him over the edge to do it, was him being drunk. I don't know, but I don't even know that, to be fair. So I'm not trying to insult you, by the way, or anything like that. It's just we don't technically know what Henry did. We really don't. Even if you want to argue before Edwin, we still don't really know everything that Henry did. I choose to apply a lot of Henry's characterization and stuff from the Silver Eyes to the games because nothing says otherwise. But technically speaking, if Edwin is confirmed to have completely made the spring locks, that doesn't change a lot. It just changed what we thought, not actual fact. Anyway, I might talk about that more when I do my Secret of the Mimic review, which is obviously being delayed because I'm moving, but I don't think it's crazy, by the way, to be questioning this, by the way. I don't think you're crazy for this. I just think we should take a step back and think about how much we know Henry even did in the first place, because if you really look at it, we don't even know prior to this. So anyway, that's just a little bit of rambling. It's fine. I like how this is number 1.5, but there's no number 1, so that's interesting. Have you played the first 4 FNAF games? Yes, as they came out back in the day. I also did have videos in 2020 of replaying them, but I took them down because they weren't very good, and I also weirdly was saying really incorrect lore in them, but it's because I was scared, so I kept like misspeaking. If not, would you consider making videos on them? To be fair, I probably will replay them at some point, you know, at some point. I'm excluding Sister Location and Pizza Sim because they are not as iconic as the first 4. For me, they are, to be honest with you. I think the whole Scott era is equally iconic for me, especially because it's been long enough. Like, Pizza Sim came out almost 10 years ago. 2 years until Pizza Sim is 10 years old. So I think they're all equally iconic for me. I know a lot of people jumped ship after FNAF 4, though, so I guess I kind of understand that mentality. But I don't quite agree. I think they're all equally as iconic, but fair enough, by the way. And again, I probably will replay them at some point. I don't know if I'll do, like, specifically, like, oh, FNAF 1 11 years later or something like that, but we'll see. Question number 2, what's your take on the lore? And by that I mean the book versus the games. Do you think they're different universes or all take place, or all pieces of the same puzzle? Here's the thing. Obviously the Silver Eyes, different continuity, that's not an argument. But then you get to Fazbear Frights, which is a much harder conversation, because here's the thing. Over the years, I was very against Stitchline games, right? Which is, for the record, the name of the theory that Fazbear Frights is in the game's continuity, is Stitchline games. I was very against it because a lot of it didn't make sense to me. Over the years, everything has slotted into place where I'm like, okay, this takes place after FNAF 6. So the Funtime Freddy in Count the Ways is a prototype because it's described to look a little bit different, so it must be a prototype. You know, all these things and we learn in the epilogues that, like, the reason all this stuff is happening is because of William fucking exploding in that Fazbear warehouse, right? Which is a really weird statement if you've never read it, but that did happen. It's really interesting to think about. The problem is Andrew. Andrew is the biggest linchpin of Fazbear Frights. Like, he's one of the main components. The problem with Stitchline games is that it heavily implies Andrew is the one you should not have killed. But that's not possible because Golden Freddy is the one you should not have killed. Very clearly, if you've played the game, Ultimate Custom Night. However, it is heavily implied that's what Andrew is in the story, right? Which is weird. And so look at it like this. Ultimate Custom Night puts massive emphasis on Golden Freddy. Why would they do that if just a couple years later, oh, actually it's Andrew, this character you've never heard of, but he's from the books. And everywhere in the games, it is 5 kids. And even the most recent version of Into the Pit, which is not the game, it's the interactive novel, which most people right now think the interactive novels are in the game's continuity, has 5 kids and not 6, which is really annoying because it means that the original Into the Pit has 6 kids, the graphic novel had 6 kids, the game had 6 kids, and then the interactive novel has 5. So that's awesome. Thank you, Scott. I just hit my mic. Point is, I don't think Fazbear Frights is in continuity with the games, only because of Andrew. However, I do think a lot of what we learned can be applied to the games. I do the same thing with the Silver Eyes. I think what we learn about Remnant is applicable to the games until otherwise. I do the same thing with like Henry's characterization with William, like their relationship. I apply that to the games until something proves otherwise, because despite the fact that we have different continuities, right? Because even if you believe in Stitch Line Games and Tales from the Pizzaplex, we have bare minimum 3 continuities. We have the games, the original trilogy of books, and the movie, right? Those are not connected, but they're all part of the FNAF canon. So I think things that we learn in those can be applied to the games and to each other until proven otherwise. So like what we learned about agony in Fazbear Frights, I think can be applied. And then in terms of Tales, it's dubious right now. It has a better case than I think Fazbear Frights for me right now. However, I think the game added so much to the Mimic story. I don't think that Tales from the Pizzaplex is in the same continuity as the games anymore. I don't think it right now, at least. But we'll see. So that's my take on the books, for the record. That I don't think that they are in the same continuity as the games. But I do think, despite that they're not in the same continuity, I do think that they are pieces to the puzzle. I think, again, what we learned about Agony can be applied to the games. What we learned about Remnant in the trilogy can be applied to the games. I think some of the stuff we learned about Fazbear Entertainment in Tales from the Pizzaplex, with the whole Pizzaplex, is probably, you know, can plug into the games. It's just, you know, the details are a little bit fuzzy type shit. If you see this comment, thank you for your time. I love your videos. Can't wait for more. Thank you very much. And thank you for the question, by the way. Thank you everyone for the question. Congrats first and foremost, but question 1, what is your favorite FNAF game that you've played? In terms of actual FNAF, assuming, not fan game, it's FNAF 2. I say that all the time. And in my FNAF tier list video, which if anyone's never seen that, go check it out. It's on the channel. It's FNAF 2. That's my favorite FNAF game. It probably always will be. I just love the gameplay. You hear me talk about that a lot in certain fan games we play that it has FNAF 2 energy of it just being super chaotic and overstimulated. There's just something I like about that with FNAF 2. In terms of lore and like actual story in the game, it's probably FNAF 6, even though FNAF 6 gameplay sucks. Like the night gameplay is not very good, but the story in that game is done very, very well. But I like all of the main FNAF games. They're quite good. And with recency bias, probably Secret of the Mimic was also pretty damn good. I think that gets bumped up for sure, because Secret of the Mimic was very good, and the story in that was actually legitimately very compelling. And question 2, what do you think the Secret of the Mimic did to the timeline and of Henry's impact on the franchise? Right now, I don't think it changes a whole lot. It recontextualizes some things, but like I said before, I don't really think any of this like decanonizes anything that Henry's done. It more so to me changes how I thought Henry's personality was. Because I said this in my Let's Play as well. In terms of Henry and William, like, quote-unquote, screwing over Edwin, I just never, in my head, with the way that I thought about Henry, I just didn't see him as someone who would do that. And that's why I asked the question in my Let's Play of, like, how much of a participant do you think he is? Like, is he, like, full on, okay, William, let's do this? Or is it more so like William's like, hey, this would be good for all of us, and he kind of convinces Henry? Or is, like, Henry not even really fully aware of how much William is screwing over? So this is kind of the question I have, to be honest with you. In terms of what he did, he still very clearly made like Fredbear's Family Diner as like a part of that. He still clearly made Fazbear Entertainment. And I've said this in my Let's Play as well, just because Edwin made a costume does not mean that Henry and William didn't make the character. That's the thing I keep saying in my Let's Play, is like, just because he potentially created, like, he was commissioned to make a costume for Chica and a design for Chica, they still came up with the idea of Chica, and Fiona made the design, but like with Freddy and Friends, who's to say that they didn't make the design? And even if Edwin did design Freddy and the gang, that technically doesn't change anything, because the blueprints would still be Henry, and we never really knew Henry and William as like quote-unquote character designers, so it's like, it's not that crazy. I still think Henry has a huge impact, because very clearly, Fredbear's Family Diner is something that Edwin didn't have a huge hand in, because there's very little stuff directly correlating to that. It's more so Fazbear stuff going forward, with like Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy. So I still think Henry has massive impacts, and obviously the wound first inflicted on him with Charlie and stuff like that. So, you know, William's best friend, and then William's first kill is his daughter. So I think he's still very important. It's just, I think people are struggling with the fact that, like I said earlier in this video, we have a consensus as a community of what we think happened, and we're getting something that says a little bit otherwise, and some people I think are being a little bit stubborn about that, because we don't really know everything that Henry did. We just don't know. We just kind of make a lot of assumptions. So yeah, and I agree with a lot of the assumptions. It's just, you know, once the story says something different, you gotta kind of accept that. So right now, I don't really think Henry's impact has been diminished at all. I still think he is a massive part of the story. It's just been recontextualized a little bit, and we'll see going forward. We'll see we definitely don't have all the details still to even, I think, have definitive statements on that. What/who inspired you to become a FNAF YouTuber? That's tough because for anyone who doesn't know, I've been on YouTube for 7 years. I started in 2017. It was January 17th, 2017 that I posted my first video, but it wasn't until Security Breach Ruin in 2023 that I changed my content to what it is today. What inspired me to do it was the community. There's a really weird thing that happened to me. I was pretty much done with YouTube in 2023. Like, I was really discouraged because I was getting decent views at the time. I was getting a couple hundred views per video, and I was like, okay, there's a little bit of something going on here, right? And then I did an Outlast Trials video. When that came out, it was fresh off the press, and that video flopped hard, and it discouraged the hell out of me, and I just got real sad about that. And so for months, I didn't post. And Security Breach Ruin was coming out. I was very excited for it, and I knew I was going to play it the minute it came out, so I was like, I might as well record it. I might as well make a video on it. And I made one massive video instead of doing episodes, and it did pretty decent at the time. And I was like, okay, this is cool. But one of the things that happened, I had this weird, like, heartwarming moment. I can't explain it, but it was like this super wholesome moment where I was getting on Twitter, and I was just looking at the community, just because I very rarely go on Twitter, especially back then. And I was just seeing the FNAF community all over my timeline, just enjoying Ruin. And even the people who weren't, because obviously the whole FizzNob situation happened with that too. People were just having fun, making memes, joking around, you know, and just enjoying it, you know, with or without its flaws. And I don't know what happened, but that like rubbed off on me. It was just a wholesome moment, and I suddenly got reinvigorated. And I remember texting my friends, and I was like, I'm going to change my content. I'm going to commit to doing like FNAF and like horror content, because I always loved it. You know, even when I was doing my old content, I don't know, it was weird. I just had this thing of like, oh, no one's gonna watch me if I do that. So I had a fucking epiphany. It was weird. I don't know. Favorite original FNAF game, FNAF 2. And what other hobbies do you have outside of YouTube? Not many. The most interesting, I guess, is like, I do like writing. I like storytelling. I think my friends could definitely vouch for it often, because I'm usually scared to do it. I have like a fear of failure. But I did have a quote recently of like, make it real first before worrying about making it good. So I think it's a good quote, because it's like, do it first, then go back and make it good. So anyway, writing, I guess, creative writing, whatever. Anyway, my fault. This is very unstructured, I apologize, but we're just doing it. What's your favorite part of the FNAF lore? That's very interesting. I could give two things here, I think. I love the concept of agony, like the way that memories have a ghost, you know, like there's an impact that things have in an area that's just kind of like an echo. I kind of think that's a cool part of the FNAF lore, but I also like the characterization of the kids. The kids being lost, confused, and distrusting of adults. So they're not technically like villains, but they can be antagonistic because they don't know what they're doing. They're lost, they're confused, but they are children to their core, but they're trying to protect each other. You know what I mean? Like they don't trust adults because they can't remember who killed them, but they know it was an adult, which is where you get that line in FNAF 2 of like, you know, they interact with the kids just fine, but when they encounter an adult, they just stare, right? That whole classic line, and they even kind of touch on that in the Silver Eyes, and then again in the movie. In fact, that whole fort scene in the movie is just perfect because it just really shows that. It's like, these are just little kids, you know, they're kids. They're just forced into this situation, and it's very fascinating. I really like what Scott did with that, because obviously in the early games, like the first 3 games, that was nowhere to be found. It may have been what he intended, but he never really like showed that off in the original games. But that's probably one of them, is the characterization of the kids. A lot of questions in this comment. Jesus, okay. I recognize some of these names, by the way, so it's nice to see familiar faces. What advice would you give to someone who might be interested in doing what you do, i.e. reviews, gameplay, streaming, etc.? So I'm just gonna say content creation. There's a couple things. One, it's a very mental job, okay? It's not the hardest thing in the world. It's a very mental thing. It is very easy to get into your own head in terms of numbers. You have to take small victories sometimes, because let's say, because like for me, for example, my growth is going to slow down a little bit, right? Because we had that big giant 200+ view video for no reason, that FNAF 2 rewritten video, which thank you, by the way, that ballooned my numbers. Things are coming back down though. Things are coming back down because it's settling, right? And so some of my videos are getting a little bit less views than they were 2 weeks ago. But you have to look at the small victory of like, that's not because the video is worse, it is because the algorithm is calming down, right? Same thing with the DBD video I posted, the glitch trap video. That video did not do as well as the Mimic videos. But here's the thing. The Mimic videos was a new release when, you know, it was fresh off the press. The DBD chapter has been out for a week now. So it's not that the video is bad, because it still did good view-wise. It just did less good because it's not the big thing. So it's a thing of like, you have to pick your battles and realize small victories. So even if you only grow a little bit, you're still growing type shit. Anyway, also consistency, and consistency comprised of quality and quantity. So if you're gonna post videos, make sure you post them consistently, and make sure the quality among them is consistent. Because let's say you only upload once a month, well then make the quality worth it and people will wait for it, right? But if the quality's not great and it doesn't match waiting a month for, people might not wait for it. So that's one thing I could do for you. The two biggest things, because everything else is more subjective, like, you know, how to do thumbnails and certain title stuff, you know. Obviously there's more objective, quote unquote, strategies of like, people do like psychology in the thumbnails by putting certain colors in the thumbnails. It's like, all right, man, it's too much for me. I'm sorry. There's also like search engine optimization, but you only can go so far with that. What video was the most fun all around, from recording to editing bits, that I've ever done? That's tough. All around, recording and editing. It might be the Help Wanted 2 review, or maybe the Silver Eyes video, because in terms of Help Wanted 2, it was a fun game and I had a lot of fun doing the series on that game. I'm just gonna say those two. I don't know. There's other things I've done that I do enjoy. Like there are some older videos that I've come to terms with that I do enjoy, like the Rainbow Six Siege experience, which I think is still up on my channel. That video I do like, but yeah, maybe the Help Wanted 2 review, just because the game was fun and I really liked the way that I edited that. And I liked the story lore section because I think I got some stuff right. What kind of music do you listen to, and do you have a preferred band or artist? Well, to do the second part first, I've never been loyal to like a specific artist or band, and what I mean by that is like there are bands that have a couple good songs and the rest just are not good, you know. Like for me, the White Stripes, I love Seven Nation Army. I haven't found another White Stripes songs that I like, for example. But to be honest, in terms of what kind of music do I listen to, I don't really listen to music with lyrics most of the time. There are many exceptions. I just like OSTs. I listen to a lot of OSTs from like movies, anime, games. It's like that fucking stereotypical like meme, you know. Actually, I listen to real music. Anime OSTs. No, I don't care for lyrics. I don't really care. I like the sound of something, right? I don't care about what someone is saying in a song. I care about the sound of something. So if it sounds good, I listen to it, basically. And most of the time, it doesn't have lyrics, because 9 times out of 10, songs have really, really good instrumentals, but a terrible vocalist or just lyrics that are really cringe. So for me, most of my stuff is just OSTs or stuff like that. Favorite thumbnail I made is crazy, because I'm not really sure. There's definitely good ones on my channel. Like, most of what I do is screenshots. I tend not to do super edited ones. Like, that one's edited, but that one's also edited. One of the cleanest thumbnails I ever did was FNAF in Fortnite. For whatever reason, this thumbnail just did come out really cleanly. That's one of my it's very basic because I didn't put any background, but that like is one of my cleaner thumbnails. Aside from Resident Evil 9, what's another highly anticipated game that you're looking forward to? GTA 6, Silent Hill F, Silent Hill 1 remake. Other games that not necessarily like super anticipated, but I am waiting for. The third Jedi game in the Cal Kestis trilogy that they're doing. That's pretty good series. Security Breach 2, whatever that ends up being. Favorite color? Purple, probably. And lastly, though you aren't a FNAF-centered channel, I definitely am. If you weren't doing FNAF, what type of content would you have made instead? Probably just what I was doing before this. I definitely am a FNAF-centered channel. I know I post other stuff. Like, I'll check out, like, Ban, or I'll check out Poppy Playtime, but I definitely am FNAF. FNAF is the bread and butter, okay? But probably what I was doing before, which was just variety. Basically, my second channel, actually. Basically, all my second channel is my channel before I did FNAF exclusive stuff, or horror exclusive, so. How are you? Stressed, but I'm okay. The move, but I'll be fine. Do you think Bonnie breaking the laws of time and physics is fair, or does it suck? Listen, it was the first game, so it's just a part of the lore, and we gotta accept that. And why does the data diver look like the Faz wrench? It's definitely just the same technology. It's the same technology. I think they even said in the Daco interview that was intentional. And yeah, I think you could obviously say that it's intentional. I think it's just the earliest form of the Faz wrench. I don't know if they just, when William buys Murray's Constant Manor and the whole land, if he just takes that design and eventually turns it into the Faz wrench. I could definitely see that. I could definitely see a like Data Diver 2 being used in Circus Baby's Entertainment Rental to move around that place, and eventually that just evolves into the Faz wrench. So yeah, good job on doing good. Thanks. Are you queer in any way? No, but there is something. What is your nationality? American. What's your favorite DBD killer and or survivor? My favorite killer? That's hard to answer because there's like aesthetic and there's like actual gameplay. The main 3 that I really do enjoy, not counting Springtrap now, was Nemesis, Sadako, and then Wesker. Nemesis is just fun to play. Obviously, I love Resident Evil, so that was very cool. But he's just fun to play. He's simple, but he's straightforward. He's a fucking he's just a killing machine. He's a fucking boulder coming at you. He's massive. Sadako, I used to play a lot, even when she was terrible. Which is the Onryo, by the way, The Ring. Even when she was terrible, because I like The Ring Goo. It's a good movie. I also think her animations and sound design are very, very good. I think behavior nailed the character. So I just like playing her. Bad or good, I don't care. She's a fun character to play. And Wesker, come on. Not only is he actually a good killer, but just 7 minutes. Favorite OST of all time is a really hard question to answer, because much like I keep saying, there's levels to this, right? There's levels to this. There's different vibes. Clementine's theme gotta be up there. That theme, when I hear it, just that first fucking note will always make me immediately like choke up, just ever so slightly. Vode Aeon, or however you say it, from like Republic Commando is pretty good. Apocalypse Averted, or whatever it's called, from Shadows of Evil, that's a pretty good song too. There's so many good OSTs, dude. That's really hard. That's really hard, because even FNAF has some goated OSTs. I mean, I used the Security Breach theme, the main theme, for my outro for years before I switched it to Doomsday Ride from Help on It 2, which is also a good song. But then you have like Midnight Motorist and like all of the FNAF soundtrack, to be honest. And the Newton brothers, who did the FNAF movie, the main Five Nights at Freddy's theme in that too is goated. John Williams themes in general in like Star Wars is goated. So like, this is really hard, to be honest. I assume you're talking about game OSTs, to be fair, but that's really hard to answer. My GOAT, very unspecified, so I don't know who we're talking about. Like, are we talking about FNAF? It's a hard question. It's a very broad question. I don't know who's my overall GOAT. Why Sadsuki? Well, my original name for years, because it was my name years before I even started YouTube, was Mr. Catmilk. That was like my online handle everywhere for a while. But at some point in 2019-ish, I just wanted a new name. And my Instagram name is Sad Natsuki Hours, that wasn't even my idea. That came from a friend of mine at the time. And obviously that's a play on sad word I can't say hours from back in the day. That was a meme in like 2018-ish. And so that was just a play on that, Sad Natsuki Hours. And so I just took Sad Natsuki Hours and turned it into Sadsuki. And it just kind of sounds clean. It's short, it's concise, it's unique in a way. Doesn't make any sense. No, it doesn't really mean anything. Per se. It's just a combined Sad Natsuki Hours and turned into Sadsuki. It looks good. I like it. And also, it made for a good second channel because I could call it Saddersuki. So it worked out. What's in the FNAF 4 box? What is the secret of the mimic? Good question, actually. Genuinely, I think about this. I've been thinking about this a little bit, as I am curious what the secret was. Was it the fact that it was made for David? Was it the fact that it might be, or that Mimic 1 might be possessed by Fiona, potentially, or at least based on Fiona? I am curious what was the secret, because we learn a lot of stuff in Secret of the Mimic. Like, we learn certain characters were made by Edwin. We learned that, like, William stole the land. We learned that, like, they screwed him over. We learned that he potentially made certain things. We learned a lot. So I am curious what the secret was, because here's the thing. The game is called The Secret of the Mimic, not The Secrets of the Mimic, which technically would have been a little bit more of an appropriate title, would have been The Secrets. But yeah, I don't actually know what The Secret's supposed to be. I can't think of anything specific or interesting to ask. So favorite color, I answered that, but purple. I'll answer it again, I don't mind. Any other things you really like or are into besides FNAF? Star Wars, Call of Duty Zombies, although that's been on the decline for years, but I still love the original stuff. JoJo, that's something I reference a lot in these videos. I really like the Naruto franchise, that of including Boruto. All right, I don't even give a fuck. Boruto's included. My GOAT. FNAF is one of the core tenets, though. I'll be honest, one of the big pillars. What's the most embarrassing memory you can recall? Depends, because looking back on certain things, it wasn't embarrassing as I thought it was. And here's the thing too, I'm very antisocial, so I avoid a lot of social contact. So very few embarrassing things have ever happened to me. And even looking back on it, some of them, and I mean truly embarrassing, because at the time I think they're embarrassing, but looking back on it, some of them are also just funny. One that I remember off the top of my head was I ended up pissing my pants in the 4th grade, but the reason wasn't even my fault, okay? We were going to gym, and as we were entering the gym, I asked, can I go to the bathroom? And they said no. I asked again, and they said no, you're just trying to get out of class. I'm like, we just started. We're not going to do anything for like 10 minutes. We're just getting in. And at the time, they had us playing Dance Dance Revolution for some reason. This lasted for like a month. But obviously, you can't have like 30 kids playing at once because it's just not how the game works. So what they did was they gave us 30 like mats that are shaped like the DDR like pad, and they put them on the ground. And they're obviously not connected to the game, so you have to pretend like you're playing for some reason. It's really weird. And so I'm in like the back right corner, and I'm doing all this movement, and I gotta pee like really bad. And so I end up pissing myself, and then they get mad at me, dude. I remember it's happening. You can hear it hitting the rug, the mat that they gave me. And I'm like tweaking out, and then like one of them comes over to me, grabs my arm and starts pulling me towards the door, and is like, this is ridiculous, dude. I'm like, bro, I asked. It's like surprise Pikachu face. The guy who said he had to piss. That's crazy. But no one really saw except for like my girlfriend at the time, which should be embarrassing, but to be honest, it was just kind of funny. Ultimately, I did get out of class because I had to go to the nurse's office, which was far away from the gym, and I had to change clothes, and I just kind of sat in there for a while. So I don't care if you answer just one of these, but it'd be great to know a little bit more about your channel as it's been growing a ton. Congrats on 10K. Thank you, by the way. What's it been like to grow your channel? What are the big ups and downs, and what surprised you? It's a weird feeling because, again, I was doing YouTube for 7 years, and the highest I got before I started really growing was 500 until I started FNAF, and that's when I started really growing. So it's just been weird. It's a weird feeling in a good way, obviously. There haven't been many downs. The biggest down is probably going to be figuring out how to pay taxes on this stuff. I'm just going to be honest. It's probably going to be the biggest thing. There haven't been many downs yet, I would say, so far. Except for maybe stress, but I've been doing better with that. And then what has surprised you? I think streaming was the most surprising thing to me because way before we hit 10K last year when I was doing Into the Pit streams, I think we were at 1,000 to 2,000. I mean, people would just show up when I streamed. And I stream randomly. I never announce that I'm going to stream. At least most of the time I don't. And people just show up. That's always surprising to me is how many people show up and just chill for like hours. It's crazy. Anyway, love your stuff, mate. So glad I and so many others have found your channel. Happy 10K. Thank you. Again, thank you everybody who says thank you. What kind of music do you listen to? OSTs, like I said. And what's your favorite artist that you would recommend? I'm not loyal to like one artist, to be honest with you. But I guess if I had to pick one, John Williams. Boy, what do you think of Mango Loco? It's my favorite. That's a monster flavor, right? I don't think I've had it. The only monsters I've really had are the main ones. Like my favorite is definitely the white monster. I don't even drink it for caffeine. I just drink it for the taste, to be honest with you. That's why I only have like one a day, obviously. I mean, you should only really drink one a day, but the normal monster is pretty decent. The blue monster is pretty decent. The pink monster, which is relatively new, that one's really good. But I don't think I've had Mango Loco. You said it's your favorite, so maybe it's good. Maybe I'll try it. What would you do if you... Whoa, hold on. What would you do if when you okay and they said yes would go? Jokes aside, would you share music recommendations and your stance on pineapples on pizza? A lot of music questions. That's a surprise. There's been a lot of music questions. Recommendation? I don't know. Put something on screen editing, Satsuki. You'll figure it out. Just don't get me copyright claimed. And then pineapples on pizza, I've yet to try it, and that's because like I don't know what else word to use. It seems slightly inappropriate to use, but I'm very autistic when it comes to food. Like I said, I have like a schedule that I work on, and so I just don't stray from it very often. So I've never tried pineapples on pizza. I can't say. I've heard that it's like a sweet, which in my mind, sweet does not combine with the flavor of pizza. So maybe I wouldn't like it, but who is to say? From seeing your DVD videos, it looks like you played the game a decent amount. When did you start? Technically, it was back in like 2017 on the PS4. Technically. I played with my friends a whole bunch. I even made videos on it way back in the day. Here's a clip. That's a very old clip. It's a funny clip too. I actually really like that clip. Technically, because I took a huge break after that because my friends have never really fucked with the game the way that I do. So I at the time stopped playing it because I didn't have anyone to play it with. And I came back on PC the day that Sadako came out. I don't remember what year that was anymore. Maybe 2021, 2022, something like that. But it was coincidentally, I didn't even plan it like that. It was the day that Sadako dropped, the Onryo. So that was when I came back and played on PC, and I've been consistent ever since. I do take breaks. I said that in my DVD video. It's not anything to do with DVD itself. It's just like I said before, like my friends want me to play other stuff and I get sidetracked, which is why I've never gotten super good at DBD. I'm definitely better than like the average player because of how many hours I have in it and like the game knowledge, but I could be way better than I am. It's just I don't consistently play it for like months on end. I usually get like 2 months of like really good playtime and then I get distracted by something else for a little bit. But I love that game, for better or for worse. I know it has problems every now and then, but I love that game's loop, man. I genuinely enjoy that game, which if you say that to some DVD players, like, really? Congrats on 10K. No questions, just fuck with your content. Thank you. And thank you for becoming a member, by the way. I see that. Thank you. I still don't have many member perks. I apologize for that. Just, I don't have a lot of members per se. I have more than I did. It's just like, you know, I've thought about doing like members only live streams, Q&A type deal, but I'm doing one right now, so I don't even know. I don't know. I still have ideas for members. We'll get there when we get there. Basic question, but still a good one. IMO. Who and or what got you into making content? Any specific memory on what really got that idea going? Funny enough, I was peer pressured into doing it. It wasn't even my idea. Back in 2016, my friend at the time, Blake, who had a channel, he had been doing it for about a year, and it was like the classic content of like putting your phone up to the TV and trying to frame it. And then sometimes you'd use the school Chromebook to to screen capture him playing like Slither.io or like Happy. One day towards the end October, towards November, he just randomly on the bus one day was like, dude, you should do it too. It'd be fun if you did it too. And like, you're funny, you should do it. And then that like spread to one of my best friends at the time in middle school, Anastasia. She started saying it. And that spread to my friend Brian, who sat to the left of us. He started saying it. And then at some point, I must have been walking into school with Blake, and my friend Josh, who was in several of my classes, heard Blake say it, because then he started saying, he was like, dude, you totally had the personality for it. And then my friend Runo, who's been in some of my videos, started saying it. My friend Dakara, who is in some of my videos as well, he started saying it. Everybody started saying it, and then just kept saying it. And I was like, eventually I just caved in, and I did it. Granted, I waited a few months, because I was super sick from November 2017 to like Thanksgiving to around Valentine's Day 2018. I was super sick. Actually, sorry. It would have been Thanksgiving 2016 to around Valentine's Day 2017. I was super sick. I had this weird throat thing. And in my first video, I sound really fucked up because I don't know what was going on, but I was really sick for like 4 months. And I started my channel like right in the middle of it. What got the idea really going was I immediately fell in love with video editing. I don't know why, but when I made that first video, it was like love at first sight when it came to video editing. It was a form of like creative expression. I love doing it. It's very fun. I don't know what it is. Even when I'm not even doing that much editing, it's like a simple cut job, it's still really fun. I don't know what it is. I really like doing it. I've already been recording for 50 minutes too, so I don't even know how long this is gonna be. This is gonna be a long video, chat. Just me talking. Only just found you recently, and you're hilarious, bro. Keep up the good work, because now you're at 10K, and it seems like it's working. Congrats, and proud of you, Suki King. Thank you, by the way. Not a question, but thank you. Any advice for people starting out on YouTube? Personally, I look up to you and your content. Very cool, very funny. Thank you. That's surprising, but flattering. Don't get me wrong. Like I said earlier, it's a very mental thing. And then keep quality and quantity consistent. You know, that's like the two main things. You just gotta keep, you know, improving. You hone your craft. You know, I was never happy with most of my videos, even the ones that I look back and I actually think are actually pretty decent. I was never happy. I was always trying to go up, which can be sometimes an unhealthy mentality. You just gotta do it. You just gotta do it. You gotta put yourself out there, making the videos. You will get better as long as you keep making them. You know, that's the way to get better, is to do it. What is your opinion on Hatsune Miku? Also, what kept you from feeling burnt out? I don't really know. I don't really experience burnout that often. If it's something I enjoy, I don't really get burned out. I just enjoy stuff. I get hyper fixated and obsessed with things very, very easily. What kept you going when you didn't have 10K? A lot of my people, like in my life, like multiple times I quit and then ultimately did come back because people in my life, for the most part. So I owe a lot of it to like a support system, I suppose. How did you motivate yourself to edit and record? Nowadays, it's a little bit easier because now I know that someone's gonna click on the video. Like when I post a video, it gets views now. Because obviously my average views just goes up. Like it used to be like the average video was 20 views and then it was 50 and now it's 100, I would say. It's kind of close to 1,000 now, but I don't know how long that'll last. But regardless, it's a little bit easier now because now I know people will be there. I know there's gonna be comments and stuff like that, which I like reading comments and stuff like that. So it's a little bit easier. Back then though, when you're kind of uploading to the void, it's a little bit harder. There were certain years I only uploaded like a handful of times. And at a certain point, it was just whenever I felt like it. Kind of hard to explain what motivated me. I just kind of had spur of the moments. Nowadays, like I said, it's way easier to motivate myself because, like I said, there's a community now. And technically, if you just went truthfully to, like, I'm monetized. So there also isn't more of an incentive to, like, oh, post a video, you know, because you at least get something out of that, right? But no, now there's like a community and stuff like that. So it's a little bit easier. But before, I will admit, it is hard to motivate yourself when you're kind of just like casting stones into the void. It definitely is. And it was just kind of spur of the moment. Sometimes I'd just be like, you know what, I'm gonna record this and I'm gonna make this video. I just had an idea, I'm gonna do it anyway. And then what do you use to edit your videos? Sony Vegas Pro 17 that I totally acquired through the official means. Congrats on 10K, Suki. Here's to another 10K. That'd be crazy. I don't know how much further we go, chat. I don't know if we get to 20K, but I'm just enjoying the ride, chat. I'm having a lot of fun. Hello, I've been enjoying your vids so much. Congratulations, yay. My question is, are there any other hobbies you enjoy a lot rather than playing games? I read a fair amount, but it's mostly like manga, to be fair. Manga, I really fuck with Star Wars. I don't do much, chat. I don't do much. I'm a very antisocial. I'm in-house a lot. You know, I'm a very antisocial person. I enjoy that, by the way. I'm not like, I don't get cabin fever. That's like something I've never had. I don't do much, chat. I'm a very uninteresting person, let me tell you. Where do we go from here? I love your FNAF and variety content, so I'm interested to see where the ride will take us. I mean, same we've been doing. I mean, obviously, views are going to go down a little bit because the official FNAF game is now gone, but yeah, we'll just be doing fan games and other random mascot horror projects that pop in and out of existence. I'll probably do some video essays here and there like I did last year. I haven't done any in a while. That was just because I got nervous about them because they're they're big videos and I want to make them really good, so I psych myself out a lot when it comes to those videos. But yeah, I don't think the content's gonna change necessarily anytime soon. I've been uploading more on my second channel. I don't know how long that'll last, but you know, there's stuff over there too. If you're interested in just general variety, right? If you just like my personality, I guess, Satursuki, it's always linked in the description. How do you feel about your channel having grown so fast quite suddenly? Well, let me tell you something, buddy. In the grand scheme of things, it was not fast, but in one stretch, you're right, it has grown pretty quickly. We went from 2K to 10K, all because of that damn FNAF rewritten video. It sounds like I'm like mad at that video, like I'm shaking my fist, looking up at the cloud. But no, you are right, like I did grow quite suddenly. I don't know how to, like, I'm obviously very, very happy. But it's just a really weird feeling because, again, for 8 years prior to that, I was struggling to grow as much and get somewhere with it. I'm very happy with it, of course. Like, I can't see myself doing anything else, chat. I really can't. When I first came across you, it was a month ago with the legendary FNAF 2 remake video. There you go. And you were at 4K. I think you truly deserved all this attention. I could tell you right away you were like hella funny and we're going places, but like, is it scary? There's so many eyes on you. To some degree, yes. Like, it is a thing where it's like, okay, well, now the videos have to be even better. But it's like, I have to ground myself in the sense of like, a Let's Play can only be so much. You know what I mean? Like, just doing like a random video on a random game, like the FNAF 2 rewritten video, it can only be so much. Like, yes, I could edit more in those videos, but I like keeping them the way they are. That's the thing, like, certain videos you'll notice I edit way more than other videos, and it's because like I don't want to ruin the vibe of certain games, you know, like the atmosphere or like the pacing by doing certain edits. So I tend to keep it simple sometimes, but sometimes I do more edits. It depends. And the answer is yes and no. I think I'm just right now still in like the going forward phase, so I'm not thinking about it too much. We'll see how it goes. But so far I'm doing all right with that. Or does it feel more rewarding and such? Definitely that. Congrats on double digits, super awesome sauce, and deserved. Thank you. I'd say rewarding right now. There is a sense of nervousness, but I got nervousness when I got 1,000 views, to be honest with you. And 20,000 views, like the Help Wanted 2 review and the Poppy Playtime review. Those videos did very well, and that started making me nervous because I was like, I gotta make the script videos even better, which is why the Twisted Ones video still has not come out. It took me over a year to settle because I kept rewriting the script. I kept re-editing parts of the video because I'm like, no, this got to be better. But I've kind of settled and been like, okay, just relax, just make the video. Just make it, okay? Make it. Worry about making it good later. Someone has probably already asked this in the comment section, but since you've reached a very huge milestone for a small creator, will you plan on doing more, or what will you plan on doing more of in the future? Also, congrats on 10K. That actually hasn't been asked yet, technically. I guess unless you ask the guy where to next. But more of the same, but I hope in between major releases when things have calmed down, probably to do more video essays, because I haven't done any in a year, and again, it was because I've been scared. I think the last video essay I did was the very, very short video, so I wouldn't even call it an essay, on the Mimic I did a year ago or so. And it was a video about how, like, on Twitter, I saw people saying that Steelwool were fumbling the Mimic, which I thought was a really weird take, because, like, at the time, before Secret of the Mimic, he was just introduced, not counting the books. We'd know nothing about him, not counting the books, right? And even with the books, we know very little about him, right? So, like, no. It's like, if the character's just introduced, how do you fumble him? We haven't gotten to the... And they didn't end up fumbling him, by the way, because Secret of the Mimic was very good, so... Small tangent, sorry, but that was probably the last one I did, and I want to get the Twisted Ones video out. I'm just going to spoil that, actually, because I said in my DVD video I had 2 ideas. There's Q&A for 10K, and the other video I was talking about was the Twisted Ones. I want to finish that, but obviously I'm moving. But that'll be something I prioritize once I get settled. So, by the way, I very much love your content. Hopefully we get more in the future. You definitely will. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, hopefully. Our Shining Satsuki is fucking awesome. What's the lore with the profile pic? I think I did explain that earlier, but I just fuck with the plush. It's just funny, it's cute, and it just kind of stuck. And there you go. Because the original profile picture for this was just my face. It was a really ugly, stretched picture of me that I took when I literally had just woken up one day. I just like the plush. The better question is, in the future, what's the legality of making merch? Because I'll obviously ask Scott regardless. I'll probably email him. But, like, what's the legality? I'm very curious about it. If anyone even knows. I shouldn't ask a YouTube comment section this, but we'll find out one day, I guess. But, like, technically, yes, it's Cassie, so I still should ask Scott. However, what about using the design? Because the design is made by an off-brand plushie company, but can they legally own the design of an off-brand plush of someone else's design? Because it's off-brand Cassie, but can the off-brand company legally say that, oh, you can't use that design, even though they didn't even get permission from Scott? You see what I'm saying? Am I in your walls is a weird question. The answer is hopefully, because I put a bunch of rats in there. What is next for the channel in the upcoming months/years? You plan on evolving the videos and concepts to new formats, even doing your own FNAF fan game. That's very bold stuff. Yeah, I mean, things are always evolving. I always try new formats every now and then for certain things. Like I said, I think maybe more video essays and maybe more streams. but mostly more of the same. And this, I have 2 ideas for that, chat. I've had for you. I have them journaled too. Like, I have plans. It's just I have no what's the word I'm looking for? I have no experience really with making games. I have very small experience with working with certain things. But if I did make one, I'd be alone, which means I'd have to learn how to 3D model. I'd have to learn how to code. I'd have to learn level design. I'd have to learn a lot of stuff. Yes, I could make a team of sorts, but I am very antisocial, as I said, so it'd be very difficult for me to be like a team captain of sorts. It is something I want to do, chat, at some point in my life. I really do want to do it, and I have 2 ideas. Both of them are quite bold, though, to be honest with you, and they probably wouldn't happen, but I do have ideas. It's definitely, I think every FNAF fan has at least one, but favorite TV show or media as a kid, like the stuff you found most formative, your humor or tastes? That's difficult, because I'm a huge variety person when it comes to stuff like that. Growing up too is a difficult thing. Tons of stuff, man. I don't know. Star Wars is definitely probably one of the most important ones, and Transformers. Those are probably like some of the 2 most important ones, but I fucking love Doctor Who. Stargate SG-1 was something I watched growing up too. Very cool show. But I'd say that in terms of humor, in terms of comedies, something that was airing when I was growing up was How I Met Your Mother, so I enjoyed that. I also loved that 70s show growing up. Say what you will about it, but The Big Bang Theory, I don't care. Big Bang Theory is silly. It's funny. Amazing World of Gumball, very funny show. Adventure Time, very, very good show. I don't know. Tons of stuff. Very difficult question to answer outright. Why did you first start getting into content creation? I did answer that. It was peer pressure, ironically. Who's your favorite FNAF character / characters? Here's the thing. I think I'm legally obligated by this point to just say Charlie. Like, the amount of times I call her my goat, which I do love Charlie. And I think at one point that was ironic, but it actually just has come true. I loved her in the book when I was a kid, and I also loved the puppet, and so marrying those 2 ideas in FNAF 6 has always been cool to me, and so it's probably Charlie, even though Charlie doesn't have like a ton of stuff, but probably Charlie. I obviously really love Roxy as well, and although she has very little so far, I love Cassie, I love Vanny as well, and Vanessa, I guess, by extension. But yeah, I would probably say Charlie at this point. I think I'm, or Cassie. Those are probably my 2 legally mandated girly pops. And most importantly, if you had to choose between unlimited... Not the J-Schlatt question, bro. And most importantly, if you had to choose between unlimited bacon but no games, or games, unlimited games but no games, what would you choose? I'm gonna go with games, unlimited games but no games, because it's a paradox, and I feel like I could gain powers from that. What's my favorite game ever and why? Dude, I don't even know. I can't pick one for sure. One of the things I used to say in terms of like my favorite childhood games, I used to say 3 games definitively, and that was Minecraft, Super Mario 64, I guess I should say it was specifically the DS version, which is slightly different than the original, and like Lego Star Wars Complete Saga. Those are some of my favorite childhood games. But like Resident Evil 4, both the original and the remake are like one of the best games ever made. They're so fucking good. EA Battlefront 2, very good game. Love that game. Dead by Daylight, love that game. The Walking Dead Telltale series, very, very good. Detroit Become Human, very, very good. Obviously FNAF 2 is up there. I said that before. Like, FNAF 2 is one of my favorite games just ever. Black Ops 3, goated zombies. Command & Conquer, I'll just throw in this too. This was one of my childhood games. Command & Conquer General Zero Hour, if you even know what that is. The Sims, I love the Sims series. I always have. Lethal Company is definitely up there for one of my favorite games. Star Wars Empire War is definitely up there. Fallout 4 is also probably up there. Skyrim, we'll throw in Skyrim. Rise of Nations is pretty good. Lots of games, chat. Lots of games. Satsuki, how much Monster Energy Zero Ultra sugar-free energy have you consumed in your life? How many ounces are these? 16 in the cans that I drank, and I drank 4 a week. And I have been doing that for, I don't even know how long, so probably a lot. Keep up your content, I love your videos, raw! W commenter, I recognize this person. They comment a lot. It's just a profile picture that I immediately recognize. Do you think you'd ever do a bit of a rebrand, specifically your profile picture? Plush Cassie is iconic, but now that you're getting a little bit bigger, do you think you'll want your own identity? I'm attached to the plush, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm attached to it, like, emotionally now. I mean, who's to say? At some point, there's a chance, like, I hire an artist to kind of give me like a channel banner and like maybe a better outro screen, because my outro screen has just been the Doki Doki background for a really long time. And so there's a chance that I get like an artist rendition of the plush, maybe like a bit of like a proper design sheet for the plush. Maybe we make slight changes to it, but probably not, to be honest with you. Maybe I should, who's to say? Maybe you're smarter than I am, but probably not. I think I'm just attached to it now. It's just a part of who I am, especially considering this profile picture basically represents my growth, because I changed to this when I started my growth, when I was going from 600 to 1200 in like a month, and I went from 1200 to 2000 in like a month. You know, it represents that, I think. So it's very important to me, I suppose I should say. How did you know that you wanted to create content? Peer pressure. I never even really intended on doing it. Like, I think every kid in the back of their mind thought that would be cool, but I had no idea how to do it. I was very lucky that the PlayStation 4 had an editing software and the clip system, because if it didn't, I had a PC. It was a family PC, and I did PC gaming, but there was no way, because my PlayStation was upstairs at the time, my PC was downstairs, so there was no way I was going to get an Elgato to like capture gameplay, and even then I didn't even know how to do it. So if it wasn't for Share Factory, which is a terrible editing software, I wouldn't be here. I've always wanted to create something, but never had the courage to just go for it. What made you take that first step? Peer pressure. Peer pressure. But here's the thing, I'll say that quote again. Make it real first, worry about making it good afterwards. So in terms of taking the plunge, go for it. You don't even have to post it, just go for it. Try making a video and then critique it yourself. Don't be too harsh on yourself. Maybe try to figure it out. Maybe show it to friends or something like that. I don't know. If I had to kiss, marry, or kill 3 FNAF characters, who would they be? Crazy question. Kiss is the one I'm thinking about the hardest right now, because there's a few different... All right, here it is. Kiss Roxy, okay? Kiss Roxy. Marry Vanessa / Vanny, because number 1, that's 2 for 1 right there, if you think about it. Number 3, if she's Afton's daughter in the game's continuity, there's the smallest chance that we get an inheritance, okay? I'm thinking about it, okay? I'm thinking. Kill William Afton, there you go. There you go. How would you feel if I drew your profile picture bathing in monster cans? Careful about the bathing part. Think about that for a second, first of all. Second of all, go for it, twin. Go for it. I think I've only received 1 bit of fan art. I actually might even just throw it on screen. It was by someone named Cody, I believe, who was in my Into the Pit streams. I don't know if they'll see this, but that was yeah. To be fair with you, I'll just be honest with you. I don't really know what the fan art is. Like, I don't know who that is. Is that me? Is like an interpretation of me? I never asked. I probably should have asked. It's cool art though. It's cute. I like it. But yeah, by all means, if you want to draw it. Just at me on whatever you're gonna do. I'm on Twitter and Instagram pretty much. So if you're gonna do it, at me on there. Favorite FNAF character and why? I think it's Charlie. Just because very attached to the puppet design for years. I liked her in the books. It's slightly ironic, but then it became unironic. There are definitely other characters. I'm blanking right now because I've been talking for a while, but there's definitely other characters too that I really enjoy, but I'm just gonna say Charlie for now. Top favorite game in the series, FNAF 2. Top 5. Oh, okay, hold on. I did have a tier list, so I could probably just pull from that, to be fair, but FNAF 2 is definitely up there. And this is just, I'm just gonna list stuff off the top of my head, okay? FNAF 2 is definitely up there. FNAF 1 is definitely up there. After FNAF 2, this is no particular order. FNAF 2, though, is definitely number 1. FNAF 1 is definitely up there. Just for the story, FNAF 6 is definitely up there. It just has to be at this point. Could be recency bias. I'm throwing Secret the Mimic up there, and then I'm putting Security Breach Ruin in there. I don't know. It'd probably be different every time you ask me, to be honest with you, but that's what I'm gonna do. What are your honest thoughts on the Steel Wool era of FNAF games lore specifically? I'll split this in 2 sections, okay? I'll answer it how I feel about Steel Wool, and then also about the Steel Wool era lore. In terms of the era of the games, I'm enjoying myself. I think only one of the games was, you know, questionable. I love Security Breach anyway, but like, we have had 5 games if you count Security Breach Ruin as its own game. If you don't, then we've had 4, and I think I've enjoyed all of them thus far. In terms of story, as much as I love Security Breach, it's very difficult to defend the weird storytelling. At least we know why it was like that. I think they've improved significantly. I don't think there's any arguing that. The first 2 games they did, Help Wanted and Security Breach, are very vague and very strange. Still to this day, I still don't fully understand Glitch Trap. I know we have ideas and M1 virus and stuff like that, but like, truthfully though, like, can I get like a solid, like, actually what is he though? Like a straight up answer? I'd very much like that. But then you have like Security Breach, which was very strange. You know, there's so many things, like the Michael Afton room. The fuck is that? I still don't know what that is. Why is that there? Is it the Mimic? Did the Mimic do that? I have no idea. Gregory's a little bit weird, but we think we understand that now with like GGY. Vanessa's a little bit weird and Vanny's a little bit weird. You obviously have like the hint that potentially she's William's daughter. I'm not 100% convinced of that yet. I know the movie made her his daughter, but that's a different continuity, obviously. But we do know her last name starts with an A, I believe, in the games. And then she did talk about how her father was abusive. I can't remember if it was physically or verbally, but yeah, so we know that. So there's a small chance. The timeline is a little janky with that, but it's not impossible. But Security Breach's lore, very difficult to fully decipher. But in terms of Hell Wanted 2 and Secret of the Mimic, and even Ruin for that matter, very solid. The lore has been very solid. I am enjoying it. I'm just having fun with new concepts, you know? The AR stuff is interesting to me. Like the whole Vanity Mask thing is interesting to me. I'm curious exactly where it all goes. So my honest thoughts, I'm enjoying it. All right. What do you still study in college? I am not in college, let me tell you, buddy. My ass did not even attempt to go to secondary education or higher education, which you should. It just helps with opportunity. Hey, it's me, Goon God. What are your opinions on the state of affairs in the Middle East right now? All right, first of all, Goon God. Hey, man. I guess. I don't even know who you are. Do I remember you? I don't know. Crazy question to ask me, by the way. There's a lot going on, and a lot of it is really old. How many gloobles of slime would you personally assign to your being? 4? On a more serious note, why the name Satsuki? I did explain that. Simply, sad Natsuki hours. Satsuki. Natsuki was my favorite character in DDLC. Satsuki, there you go. Doesn't really mean anything, it's just, yeah. Will you ever address the allegations regarding the incident? The families need closure. Shh. Are you bald? The exact opposite of bald. And there you go. I think that's all 50 questions. I've been recording for an hour 17, so I don't know how it's gonna go, but thank you. That was fun. Like I said, I am moving pretty much right after this, so I don't know exactly 100% when videos will be going. I might record another video today to get something out while I'm gone. I don't know. We'll see. You'll see me when you see me, but thank you, seriously, genuinely, all jokes aside, thank you so much for 10K. I've been doing YouTube for a while, and I've wanted to make this into something for so long. I know I'm not, like, entitled to it, and it kind of makes it sound like that's what I'm trying to say. You know, I've been doing it for so long, I deserve this. It's not quite what I'm trying to get at, but I have been doing it for a very long time, and this is what I want to do. You know, as pathetic as that may be, I can't really see myself doing much of anything else. You know, I'm a very strange person when it comes to, like, socialization and just functioning as a human. I don't know if I'm, like, you know, I don't know if there's something wrong with me. I have no diagnosis. Let's just put it there. Thank you for watching. Like the video and subscribe if you're new here. I doubt if you're new, you watch this all the way through. But again, I appreciate it a lot. More videos of the same coming. Goodbye.